Welcome to the HR Empowerment Podcast, where we will uncover strategies and new insights from HR professionals who discuss up-to-date regulations, best practices, and the most pressing topics like diversity and equity, leadership, dealing with difficult situations, and much more that affect your bottom line and business. Thanks for joining us.
Hey everybody, Wendy Sellers here, the HR lady. I am here with my co-host JC. Hey JC, how you doing?
Hey Wendy, I'm doing pretty good. It's finally getting a little chilly up here in the Northeast right now. They're talking about the snow in the next few days. I guess there's they call a Manitoba Marauder coming over the Great Lakes. Should be bringing a dusting of snow soon. Kind of excited for that one.
Wow, I am glad I'm not there then, because I am in sunny Florida where it's currently 84 degrees.
Oh.
And it's actually a little too warm for me right now. I'm supposed to get chilly this week, which means we might have to wear socks or pants or something. But other than that, we will take our cold weather, which might go down to 65 overnight. Hey, we have an amazing podcast lined up here today. We're going to be talking about best practices in employment law and some general business trials. We have Hillary Johns here, and you're coming in from what state, Hillary?
California, but I'm also where it is a nice 82 degrees, but I'm a little jealous of JC here because I love the fall and how it changes. But we also have offices in New York and DC and Montana.
Oh, yeah. So you're definitely going to get the real winter effect at some point coming up, right?
Exactly. Or snowed in, depending on where we are.
That is very true. So, Hillary, thank you so much for coming today. I understand that you're a trial lawyer and you provide, professional civil trial representation. And we have so much to ask you today about employment law and really just to help our listeners out. So, so they don't need you.
I always say I'm doing my job well if either you never have to see me again or you don't have to call me. That takes some time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we all wish that we don't have to call a lawyer. But, I was just doing a training this morning or just a couple hours ago on a different topic on disability accommodations. And, I'm always saying, I know you don't want to call a lawyer, but you should do it ahead of time where it's $500 to a couple $1,000 versus $20,000 and you're going to trial against Hillary Johns, which we don't want to do because you are very, very good. I'm so impressed with your experience and the fact that you speak 4 languages.
I do. Not as well as I do, but it's a lot of work, but it's worth doing. And I have help. So
that's amazing. Well, hey, congratulations. English, French, German, and Spanish. My goal someday is to speak Spanish. I have a book that I have translated, both of my books into Spanish, but I don't know what they say. So hopefully they were translated correctly. Hey, let's dive in here. I want to talk about why do businesses need a lawyer on their side? So I'll just kind of open it up there for you. Why should a business, whether they have 5 employees or 5,000 employees, have an attorney on their side?
I think it's always good to call and get legal advice as a preventative measure before a problem starts. Often I have clients who call me and they say, well, we've done all these things. Did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? No, we didn't. Did you say this? And you find out they've said things that they shouldn't have or maybe weren't advisable. They didn't keep documents. Everybody, please document everything, keep evidence, or it wasn't handled well. Those are 3 of the main things I see. And if they called earlier, I would have given advice and they would have known what to say and not to say. In addition, just in the state of California alone, we are a very, very active pro-employee state currently. Not all states are. New York is another one that is constantly changing with the new bills and the new laws, and they're going through the Senate and new case law. And it is very difficult to keep up. And we have services with lawyers who provide us with lists of changes in the law. So, twice a year, January and July, lawyers are responsible for knowing this. There may be a change in the law, or they may give you an insight. Sometimes you need a reality check too. And if you call your lawyer because you're upset, you want to believe it, and you're working all day and you got to get this off their plate, and there's been a complaint, sexual harassment, or you've got to let someone go, and they're going to put in a claim. They're already making noises about doing this, and it's going to happen, or you're concerned and you're worried they're going to get that plaintiff's attorney who's going to sue you. A lawyer can walk you through this and give you advice how to document it. So maybe it doesn't go anywhere, because employers are targets. They are. They're seen as risk.
Even though you're you specialize in trials, your goal really is to avoid those trials.
We do. We do a lot of HR work. We represent a lot of companies, whether we represent them in litigation. Sometimes they come to us, they're already in litigation, but we also do a lot of that work, that backup work to keep them out of that, the preventative work. So, NDAs, if they need policies done, insurance is also key. You may have insurance there is insurance available these days that is affordable. And so we do a lot of advice at work like that to advise them, this is what you need to do when you're onboarding someone. If there's a problem, what training they need, what records you need to keep, what they need to be advised of. And if you have someone who's a problem, whether it's non-performance or behaviors or, in the remote world, it's a lot of them is the bigger problem we see these days is people not showing up to work at all. They have 2 jobs, or they're clocking in. They're saying they did 8 hours of work when they did 3. Things
right.
like.
Right, absolutely. Hey, JC, you got some stats for us on trials?
Yeah, absolutely. Every year, organizations in the United States stand a 12% chance of being sued for employment discrimination. In 2020, 99,941 charges of workplace discrimination were filed. That's a decrease of 7.7% compared to 2019. The EEOC resolved 100,082 charges in 2020, resulting in monetary awards of more than $338 million. Back to you.
Whoa, that's a lot of money. And I would like to say that I'm sure, and Hillary can confirm, that since 2020, the worldwide pandemic, there had probably been a massive increase in all kinds of employment law discrimination cases, whether they were legit or not, right?
That is very true. And again, things like meal breaks, how much of a meal break do you give someone? How much of a rest break did you give someone? Did you pay them for overtime? Class action suits, things like that are very common here. California has the PAGA claim, Private Attorney General's Act, where you can sue on behalf of a class. So there's lots of ways. In other states, there's some similar type laws. There's a lot of ways an employer can make a misstep, even if they don't do it intentionally. But again, if you have a plan in place and you stick with it and you make sure it's enforced and implemented correctly, you can really avoid a lot of this. I mean, does it guarantee that a claim won't be made? No, but it does mean that if a claim is made, you've got a strong defense, and it may not go to litigation. Most plaintiff, yes, JC.
Yeah, I'm not trying to interrupt you, but I've got some great material to support what you're saying. For some people out there, they might not be aware, things in California are sometimes just a little bit different, right? So for hours worked in excess of 12 in a day, allegedly, according to SHRM, and Hillary's going to help confirm this, double time must be paid. Work completed on the 7th day of a work week is subject to additional requirements as well. Is that right, Hillary?
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. Any day over 12 hours or anything over 40 hours, you're going to get in double time and a half and then double overtime. So there are rules that you have to adhere to. And it becomes problematic if you have a bigger company. If you have 50 or 60 people working and clocking in at different times and depending on what you're doing, it can be a real task for you. But it behooves you to keep track, because all you need is that one person suing. It becomes very stressful, very, and costly as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we have a lot more to talk about. I want to talk in our second episode of this 5-part series on best practices in employment law. I want to talk about, common sense in the law. So with that said, we'll be right back. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining the HR Empowerment Podcast, brought to you by Aurora Training Advantage. We hope you've gained new insight and strategies to navigate the HR profession. We look forward to you joining us again on the HR Empowerment Podcast.